Hi guys, it's Kimberly Bell with the Real Estate Office, bringing you education this week on open houses and books that you might put in your listing. So, of course, we've talked about what you might want to put in your listing, but some people have asked me, hey, do you put a book in your listing? So I do. And I'm going to send you some of the dividers that go in my book, but one of the pages that I put is a cover. It goes on a 3-ring binder in there. It might look something like this, and I slide it in the front of that 3-ring binder to kind of welcome people to the home. On the inside, I like to have the 3-ring binder that has a pocket. I always take the extra MLS briefs. I might have some laying out, but I always have extras on the inside page tucked in just inside that 3-ring binder. Then on the very next page, I do a flyer. I put the flyer in, I put plastic slip covers on the inside of my 3-ring binder, and I go ahead and I slide this in there. I might have a flyer that's a little bit different that shows some different pictures of the houses. In my next part, I do my disclosures. I do a disclosure page, and I put on each individual, I individualize this for every single listing that I do, and I go ahead and I tell them what's going to be included in that. I also tell them that there's extra copies of the disclosure, so I go ahead and I put 1 page per slip cover, front and back, so that people are able to flip through and find some information if they have questions about what's being disclosed. Then, at the very end of that area, I'll say, okay, a page that says extra copies, take one here, and maybe have 5 extra copies in that 1 slip cover so that they're able to take them easily, and I either staple them or I paper clip them together. Then what I do is, after that, I might have utility information, do a utility information one that has very similar to what we just do. I don't have one in this packet. I then have the utility contact sheet there for them to have. That's great because I've already prepared it. Maybe the buyer will want it early. It's prepared. It's in my file. I go ahead and I can send that to the buyer's agent as a courtesy. Well, what else does it have on it? It also has my logo. It has my contact information. But I've already, the buyer's agent asked for it, so that's how I provide that to them. Maybe they didn't ask for it. Maybe I'm providing it at closing. I do then take that out of my book and provide that at closing. In addition to that utility contact sheet that I do, I also then have utility copies of utility bills, and it's for them to view, not to take. Copy of the utility bills, and it's in there. It's in the book, and they can see that where it's at. You may have warranties or termite information. That's one of my sections that I do, warranties and termite information. And then what you do is you provide maybe contracts you have for termite, maybe you have a landscaping, maybe you have warranty on the HVAC. I put that in there. That's where I would put it. At the very end, I go ahead and I do another flyer, and that's different from the beginning, and I lay that flyer in the very back, using it as a good module for them to go ahead and flip through. The next question that you guys had for this week was prepping a house for an open house. So we want to make sure that the meds are put away, that you want to make sure that if they have guns that they're in a lock safe. Go ahead, and if they haven't taken down those personal photos, to go ahead and do so at this time. We want to make sure that the front entry is swept and ready for them, and to make sure that you're putting up signs that that's the door to come in, so they're not popping in from all different sides, because all the doors are going to be unlocked, and we want to make sure that they're coming in that front entrance. You might want to pair with a lender to help with food. Maybe you want to bake cookies, maybe you just want to bring candy. That's up to you. The lender could also set appointments to pre-qualify people as they go ahead and go through that process. They would set appointments to go ahead and meet with them outside of the open house. You want to make sure that you stay in a neutral location, greeting everybody as they come in, but making sure that they sign in and that they feel free to go about and look at the house. Make sure you have signage. Make sure that you advertise it. Maybe put it on Zillow, Realtor.com, put it in the Flex MLS. Make sure that it's getting out there and getting that advertisement. I use 2 different forms. One is a sign sheet where you just use a regular old pen and paper and you sign them in. But I always ask for the agent's contact information, or the agent that they're working with, if they're working with an agent, And I use that as an opportunity to reach out to that agent and say, hey, Jill and Scott were looking at this house. I wanted to let you know that they came by, and it's good to stay in cooperation with your fellow agents. And then they feel like they can trust you, and that's always good to have great relationships with people outside, not just in your company, but outside your company as well. So the other form that I use is a digital tracking one. It's a digital sign-in form that I use on Drive. You go to Drive, and you go over to Add New, and you come down under Documents. You go down and you click on More, and there's one that's called Forms, and I create a digital open house sign-in, so that way when it's done, and it tracks me, sorry about that, guys, it tracks me as to what, it tracks the activity that's going on, so that I have a digital Excel spreadsheet at the end, and then I'm able to do a better tracking device as to where I need to go with this information that they have given me, whether I need to email another agent and give them an update, or maybe I want to add one of these people to my drip campaign. It's very easily done from a digital sign-in sheet. So a digital sign-in sheet, or people call it a digital landing site. They come in, they go ahead and they type their stuff in versus signing in. And then you have that information, and it's forever in your Google Drive. It's not sold to anybody. It's just in your Drive for you to do with what you want to do with. So those are some things that I do. Would love to hear back from you of what you do. I'm going to go ahead and send you some things that give you some information about this. I'm going to give you some of my dividers.